Welcome to Interro Bites. These are 15-minute videos taken from my long-form live streams. If you want to see the full video or more, subscribe to Don Dacquisto and check out the playlists on my main page. Thanks for being here. Enjoy. I'm beginning to understand why. Now, again, I just want to let that one breathe.
I hope this is all wrong and you find some disgruntled student that shot him. I want Wendi and her kids to have a good life in South Florida. You know, I still love them. I still care about them. I miss them. I'm pretty heartbroken over all this. But
so he says, I hope this is all wrong. I hope you find some disgruntled student. Okay, so that is the first time I've heard him mention any possibility of a disgruntled student. Now, of course, he's talking about the one who potentially kissed her or allegedly kissed her. Maybe that's who he meant. Not sure. But he's hoping he's wrong because he wants Wendi to be happy. Actually, he wants Wendi to stay in Tallahassee and be happy with him, to be honest. But that's, he's trying to be, and good for him. And he's trying to be the bigger man here.
If you want information, I had some things to say. So we have this big fight in Gainesville. And I'm really confronted her. I'm really hard on her. I'm pissed because I feel like I've been conned because she's been calling me her boyfriend and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know exactly what the relationship was with Zach, but I found out enough that it was very clear that she was busted, that she was juggling two guys in some form or fashion. I don't know the details. Yeah. I got the impression I was boyfriend number two is why I was pissed. I mean, there's no picture on the Facebook page. I noticed there wasn't even a picture of me in her house. And that's when I got really, really upset. I was like, come on, we've been dating 9 months. This is
okay. They've been dating 9 months. There are no pictures of Jeffrey with her or on his own on her Facebook page, and none in her house. And he knows at this point he's boyfriend number two. So just think about that. Like, that's huge.
So I had it out with her in Gainesville. Then she went to South Florida for 14 days. The whole time she's down there, she's miserable and not that available. But we're talking about future-oriented stuff. We're talking about trying to get back together and desperate to see each other. It sucks that we're separated in this bad situation. I can show you the text. Like, can't imagine my life without you. God, I fucking miss you. I mean, these are like exact quotes. She gets back to town. We go on a date. And I said it was awkward, but we were holding each other. We're holding hands. There was a future orientation still. We're going to spend a lot of time together and work this out. That's what we had decided to do. And that was last Monday. It gets really strange from there, and it makes me suspicious. Maybe I'm just paranoid. But then on Tuesday, she called me at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. She said, I walked out of my house. We're going to see each other that night. And I say, okay, I walked out of your house. What are you going to do? I try to get a key, but I probably need a locksmith. I said, oh, well, I'll come out and we'll just hang out on your front porch and have our date there. And she's like super sweet and friendly. And it was like everything was okay, actually. She was like, I would love it if you would come keep me company.
Okay, and I've had some questions because I've been putting out some shorts ahead of this longer form live stream about this timeline. When was the no contact? When was yoga? This and that. Monday, everything was fine. They were holding hands. Now he's talking about Tuesday. So this is just before the Tuesday, just before dance. So that would have been the 15th, I believe, of July. Let's see. 18, 17, 16. Yes. So the Tuesday before the Friday of Dan's death. And of course, he's saying he might be paranoid. Well, of course he's going to be paranoid. Wouldn't be. But for that timeline of that week, this is the first time he kind of starts breaking down the timeline.
Seeing a little bit, calling each other baby, this kind of stuff. When I showed up to yoga, and ended up that she got into our house, we went to yoga together instead, and we just met there. When I showed up to yoga at 7, something was completely different. She was gone. I mean, and that might have been just her talking to her friend and says dump him, and she decides it, and that's it. It had nothing to do with your case. But I would be really curious to know if I was you, who she talked to between 3 and 7, because something happened where I seem to be irrelevant all of a sudden. And this is after 15, 16 days of her wanting us to, let's just work this out. It just turned in a second.
Okay. So I don't remember anyone ever really talking about this, but it's been a couple of years. So he's saying everything was hunky-dory on Monday, although there were more signs that that whole week was kind of weird for Wendi. But all of a sudden Tuesday, everything was fine. They had a nice time on their little date on the porch or whatever that was. She locked her keys out of her house. In other words, maybe she didn't want him to come in, or she wasn't sure I'm not sure about that. Was the TV broken? I don't know. But he's saying all of a sudden something happened. So he's wondering who she talked to between 3 and 7 on that Tuesday. So he's giving the police officer some actual times and dates to maybe look into, because maybe that was when the switch was flipped. Maybe that's when some arrangements or something changed. She got information that was upsetting. And then you'll hear him talk about what happens next.
And it gets a little stranger from there, actually.
And this was Tuesday preceding the 18th.
Exactly. Anyway, so I'm never.
What point did she send you the email?
That was that night. That was
memory.
That Tuesday night. That was Tuesday night, which I suspect was already in her head.
Because well, that may have been, she maybe came to a finalization that she was going to do that.
She may have. She may have. And I don't want to make this all about me. There's bigger things here. But I did notice some things. I mean, so she's done with me, right? Okay. I'm looking at her. It's not right. Something's wrong here. I walk out to the car, and it's really awkward. Small talk, you know. I can tell she thinks everything she's done. But she asked me if I was going to be here this weekend. Now, she's done. Why should she give a shit if I'm here Friday? She asked me directly, are you going to be here Friday? And I said, maybe it's up in the air. And it wasn't up in the air. I just didn't want to seem desperate, and I was just going to stay here and not take my trip if Wendy was willing to see me, is what that was about.
Pay really a close attention to this.
But she was really interested. Oh, why is it up in the air? Oh, because, you know, at his end, there's a thing. Okay, well, okay, talk to you.
And this was prior to her sending you the email.
Prior to sending me the email. And the last thing I ever heard from Wendy, last words I exchanged with Wendy were, are you going to be here Friday? I just thought you should know that. It made me nothing, but it was kind of strange to me.
So he's thinking things are still working out. They're holding hands. Everything's cool. They had a nice time on Tuesday afternoon. And maybe, I'm not sure, but this is what he's saying here. Okay. And then her mood changed. It wasn't just that he got a no contact order. They went to yoga. She said, are you going to be here Friday? Even though he was getting the vibe that something had changed, something was wrong, this was over. And he said right here to the detective or to the officer, hey, why would she care what I'm doing Friday if she's breaking up with me? And I came home and an hour later got this no contact order. So it's stuck in his head that she wanted to know, would he be there Friday?
Then the no contact order was also kind of strange to me. Usually you just send someone an email and say, hey, I need some time to think. She was very strict about that no contact thing. It was almost like she didn't want to be in front of me. You know, I just busted her for
Well, she probably didn't want you to try and talk her out of it.
Now he's saying, and you know, he's very in tune to her psyche, and he's saying maybe she didn't want to be in front of me. And we all wondered, maybe she didn't want to be in front of Dan. She lost her voice supposedly, so she couldn't speak with Dan. So he's pointing out that he felt like something was up and suddenly she just couldn't face him because something was going on. She felt maybe guilty about it, maybe guilty that he was going to break up with her, maybe guilty that there was more going on.
Maybe. I don't know.
That was my thinking.
Maybe. Or maybe she knew something was going to go down and didn't want me in front of her because I read her pretty well. And I just busted around a whole host of lies, you know.
Okay.
This part sounds crazy speculative. I just wanted to give you the information. So that struck me as kind of strange. Oh, I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. This was just weird. This was just stuff. Have you seen this picture? Probably seen it in the media accounts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at that picture, my friends that I don't have kids. My friends that have kids showed me and said, look how narcissistic that picture is. Who looks good in that picture? Not Wendy's kids. Wendi. And this comes out Thursday night. She changes this.
This is the one that you said she was taunting you with, or
Well,
whatever,
maybe.
or you thought she was.
What the other speculation in the community, which is not for me, is like, Wendi looks good, but this is a Photoshop picture. Her dad does photography stuff, you know? So she looks way better than normal in this picture. If you knew you were going to be all over the media, that's how Wendi would want to look. So that may sound crazy to you, but.
Okay, so even here, Professor LaCasse is saying, hey, you know, I might be just speculating, because that's what we're all doing, right? We're interested in a case. He's interested in helping them find the truth. He's trying to figure out what happened and wrap his head around probably the last 9 months of everything he witnessed and experienced in this relationship. And he's offering these, these often theories, and some of them were just so spot on. He was really spot on to what was going on in that home and in her mind in many cases. So, okay. So yeah, she got locked out on Tuesday. She locked herself out of the house, which I thought was weird because they were all lovey-dovey on Monday, and Tuesday she locked herself out, and he said, well, we'll have lunch on your porch and whatever. And then all of a sudden, and they were fine. And he said they had a good time. And she did get her keys. And I'm not sure if he went into her home or not, but he was very suspicious that on Tuesday at that time, between 3 and 7, something happened, because then when she saw him late, or he saw her later, her demeanor had changed. He just assumed that meant they were breaking up, because their relationship was kind of in limbo anyway. And yeah, and so, all right, so too deep. Listening, can't chat. It's driving me crazy. I'm dying to live stream exactly. Yeah, well, you're welcome. Hey, Too Deep, come on with me. If you'd like to come live with me, anyone, you're welcome to. Whether Katie's here or not, you're more than welcome to. I know Judy does that on her channel, and I think that's really cool. And so I'm kind of adopting that same policy here. I can send you that. Obviously, you can't now, because if you can't chat, but we can set it up sometime. Yeah, and we can review this again, or you can go over this again, however you want to do it. But this part is really interesting. There's a lot of facts here. He's not just evaluating her psyche here. There's a lot of facts he's dropping.
Just something to think about. I mean, when you want to picture your kids look good. There's other pictures in this photo set where the kid's looking at the camera.
Oh, I know. I lost my train of thought. This is where he was showing on his own phone the picture of Wendy's Facebook profile picture changed with the fake boobs that her dad put on her. And obviously he's looking at her face. He's at home. They're Facebook friends. They've been dating for 9 months. She sees a profile picture change, which, by the way, is public. So when you change your profile picture, everyone gets notifications. So it's not like he was stalking her or anything. He saw it, because you get a notification when somebody changes their profile picture. And he's already theorizing that, that's the picture they used in the media. How interesting. And her dad put that picture together. How interesting. So that's wild to me. I mean, for me, somebody changes their profile. It could have been a coincidence, this and that. But if you compare her regular picture of her in that purple dress that he thought was so pretty, and the Photoshopped version, it really is quite a spectacle.
Smile and it look great.
Right.
So it's just weird. And I'm not trying to do your job for you to be like an FBI profiler, but it was a thing.
Right.
And that one of the last things would be, it still is, I don't want to be the disgruntled ex-boyfriend, but
big time.
It's really strange to me that she's never contacted me. It's very strange. We were co-parenting for 6 months. We've talked about.
Okay, there's where the co-parenting came in. And he also called it their home, their household together. And now he's talking about co-parenting. So it was a very close relationship.